Who am I? Who am I? I am a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. And I see possibilities in everything. I see possibilities in people. I see possibilities in ideas. And in addition to that, my superpower is I am a connector. I'm a connector and I'm owning it. I am a connector. So I connect people with people, ideas with ideas, and people with ideas. So collectively, we can achieve whatever those dreams are, whatever those childhood dreams are, bring them back to life, get them off pillows, and make them become possibilities and reality. And that's who I am. So Future Achievers is a company that I founded in 2019. And our mandate is, or vision, or reason for existing is we believe success belongs to everyone. Everyone, regardless of your background or the connections you have, deserve to be successful, deserve to realize those dreams. And I think the idea came when I was teaching at Humber College, and I had a lot of international students who struggled to find an internship. And they were taking roles that they could have gotten before doing an education because nobody would give them a chance. I came here as an international student and somebody opened a door for me that I walked through. And so Future Achievers, our mandate is really to help people prepare, because one of my favorite saying is success happens when opportunity meets preparation. Not everybody has the same opportunities. We know that. So how do we help people to find opportunities? Or if you can't find an opportunity, make your own opportunity. But to also, before we even get to that opportunity, we need, because sometimes, as you've heard, opportunity knocks once. So we need to ensure that when that opportunity comes around, you're ready for it. And that's where preparation comes in. That's where Future Achiever comes in. So we have a lot of programs that really help our students and our clients find their sweet spot, What's their reason for being? What's their purpose for being here? It took me a long time to find joy and purpose in my job, despite pursuing a career that I thought was the career that would lead to my dream, the career of my dream. I started on the engineering path and did my MBA and worked in corporate Canada in large organizations. But then I recognized I had my ladder up the wrong wall. How do we help students before they get to the ripe old age of 50 or 60 or 70 to actually love what they do? It's been said that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I want our students to love what they do. I want our young people, our future generation, these young people are our future. So how do we prepare them to find and make that opportunity so they can have the success that they desire? Not the success that I want for them, but the success that they want for themselves. Who is the team? Who is the team? How did we come together? Such an interesting story. I was going through with my team at Future Achievers a strategic planning activity, and recognized that we needed to partner with an immigration consulting firm. And it was a Saturday morning, and I called Sandra up, who I've known forever. Sandra and I actually went to school in Jamaica. Sandra and I have a long history. And I called her up and said, Sandra, we were going to be working together, and I told her my dream for helping international students land career opportunities in Canada. And she said, Andrea, I have tons of workers, I have lots of employees, but I don't have employers who are willing to do what's required to get these students here. I said, remember, I'm a connector. So I said, I know just the person, Gary. So I had worked with Gary because he was helping some of my students get internship opportunities. And Gary had said to me, Andrea, I have lots of employers, but I don't have employees. So with a quick phone call, the team was formed. Yard and Abroad became a reality. And what's so special about the three of us? We're three Jamaicans who came here, three dreamers. We came here with a dream and a desire to improve our lives, make our lives different, and give back to our communities. And so this is going to afford us the opportunity. We all worked in corporate for a while and started our own organizations. Gary has a recruiting business, successful recruiting business. Sandra has an amazing passion for immigration and helping people make Canada their home. And I am a connector that just wants to connect people with opportunities and help them open opportunities. And here's this opportunity for us to give back to the country that we all love so dearly, to help those young people who have dreams that they can make Canada their home, just like we did. So what's Yard and Abroad? So initially, we were gonna say Yard, because that's how we call it in Jamaica, Y-A-A-D, Yard. And Yard, but Yard is, because this is gonna be a global, remember I'm a dreamer? This program is gonna be global and change the world, because there's such a global labor shortage right now, and we have part of the solution to that. We know we have part of the solution to that, because there are people who, employers, who have a gap, need employees, and employees who have a gap, they need employers. Remember I said I'm a connector? So I want to connect those folks. And not just me, because we now have this team of experts who, Gary has employers. Gary knows what the employers needs. Sandra is an expert in immigration practices and knows what's required with the whole LMIA process and all that stuff. And I have the ability to help people figure out what their passions are, to make sure that the employees that are interested are really interested for the right reasons, and they're going to be pursuing their passions of supply chain needs that exist. So let me go back to the question you asked, which I kind of have forgotten. What is Yard and Abroad? Yard and Abroad, as back in the 90s, when I was doing my MBA, we talked about the war for talent. I wrote a paper on it, because we saw what's happening now coming. We saw it coming, because the baby boomers were going to be leaving the workforce. However, because of the recession and all these other things that happened, the baby boomers stayed in the workforce a lot longer than people anticipated. But now it's happening. Employers cannot find their help wanted signs everywhere, in every industry. Why Yard and Abroad? Why are we starting with truckers? I actually taught supply chain management at Humber College pre the pandemic. And I remember when I started talking about supply chain management, nobody knew what I was talking about. Now, everybody knows what supply chain management is, because we were all impacted by not being able to get goods and services that we needed. So there's this tremendous gap. And why Yard and Abroad? Canada needs drivers. Jamaica has tons of qualified drivers. We want to connect those two so people can pursue their passion of giving back and becoming the best driver and the best supply chain professional, transportation expert that they desire to become. Yeah, so what's my story? I'm going to give an example of the first, because we're in the process of doing a pilot for Yard and Abroad. So, Yard and Abroad. And we interviewed this young man. He's 26 years old. And I think he came out of his mother's womb with a truck in his hand. And he is so passionate about driving. But that was not his first passion. He wanted to be a pilot. And he started down that journey. And limitations were put on him, and financial reasons, and he's in Jamaica, the pilot school closed, all these other things. And he shifted his focus because he's passionate about supply chain management and transportation. So he wants to be a trucker, and he has his own little trucking company, 26 years old. So passionate. And he wants to pursue that because he recognizes that there are limitations for where he's at, his location. And I think we have a flattened globe. The globe is flat now. The world is flat. Why are there these borders? Why can't he? Canada, I am tired of driving by and seeing help wanted, truckers wanted. Why do I want to do it, and why now? Mind the gap. Mind the gap. There is a big gap. I have a t-shirt that I love to wear that I bought a few years ago when I went to England. Mind the gap. Because on the underground, the tube, they have this gap which we don't seem to have in our subway system here. I'm not sure why we don't learn best practices from each country. But anyways, that's another story. So there's gaps. There's a big gap. And I want to do my part to close that gap. One of the programs, the other thing is, one of the programs we have, Success by Design, that students will go through, where they get to identify what holistic success looks like to them. And the A, achieve, future achievers, we use a trademark methodology called Achieve. And the A of Achieve is assess the gap, mind the gap. So it's for you to look at what end state success looks like. Where are you current state? End state success is to mirror employees, the right employees, with the right employers. That's end state success. And I believe between Gary, Sandra, and myself, we have what it takes. We have the tools, we have the skills, we have the expertise, we have the passion to fill the gap. Why is now the right time for Yard and Abroad? I am tired of driving on the highway with drivers behind tractor trailers that I don't think should be behind the wheel. I feel that because we have such a great need for transportation professionals, we oftentimes put people behind the wheel that should not be behind the wheels. One of the things that we will be doing is assessing our drivers before we introduce them to the employers to make sure that they have clean driving record, they're passionate about driving, and they are fully trained to be behind the wheel. Because I've seen, wait a minute, recently, my daughter was in a car accident, and it was a trucker that hit her car, sideswipe, and thank God she was alive because the end state could have been different. I want to ensure that we're, in addition to filling gap and we need supply chain, but on a emotional level, our roads are so busy and there's so many people who should not be behind a truck. I think we can help that. I think everything comes with purpose and passion. I actually feel I was created. I was put on in the world at this time, for a time like now, to be part of a program like this. I think there's so many people that have such amazing potential, but nobody sees them. Nobody sees their potential, and they stop believing in themselves. I have a student that just recently went through a program, and she came here. She studied civil engineering, no, construction engineering. And she's always had a passion for that. That was her dream. So she did that in her home country and came here to pursue her postgraduate in the similar field. Picture this. Fast forward 4 years later, she finished school, did not get an internship, could not land a job in that field of interest. When I met her in one of her programs, the Change Your Future program, she wanted to be an administrative assistant. I'm like, why? Because after 4 years, she thinks that's all she thought that's all she could become. And she had that dream of being in the construction field, which we need people in that field. She didn't think it was open to her because she didn't have the connection. She didn't have the network. Nobody. She's prepared. She's prepared. And now she's being introduced to somebody in that field, and she has an interview next week. Somebody has to open the door for people. Success should be accessible to everybody, not because of your background or your upbringing or your connections. Success, our world needs everybody to be playing their part so collectively we can be a much better place. Why now? Why now? Why now? Why now? There's 15, 17 years ago, there's a need for drivers, and the need has escalated because now we know that Amazon, I have a wedding tomorrow. You might have to cut this, but I have a wedding tomorrow. And yesterday I reached out to the folks and I said, oh, oops, what would you like for your wedding gift? Do you have a wedding registry? I ordered what they told me yesterday. Before I left home this morning, it was at my doorstep. That wasn't possible many years ago. So technology has changed things significantly. So there's a need, and there are people that can fill that gap. And I believe, back to minding the gap, something I said, I think now is the time for us to match employers with employees, the right employers with the right employees, so we can reduce that gap that currently exists in our supply chain management, in our transportation field. Benefits to the employees. Someone recently asked me if I was creative, and I've never seen myself as creative. I'm an engineer, I have a logical brain. But it's amazing when you start playing to your strengths. When employees have an opportunity to play to their strengths and do what they're passionate about and what they're interested in, what their skill set, when those things intersect, it's amazing what they can become. It's been said that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I want these employees to feel that this is not work. I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this because I love it so much. I remember the first time I taught. I taught at, I think it was Sheridan, Seneca, one of those colleges first. And somebody opened the door for me to get that opportunity. And I remember going back to him and saying, they shouldn't pay me for this because I love it so much. I want our employees to say, I am behind the wheels of this truck, and this is exactly why I was put on the face of the earth. I love this so much. Not, I need to pay my bills, so I have to do this. I want on a Saturday Now people are saying, oh my gosh, especially if it's a 9 to 5, trucking is not 9 to 5. But I want them to say, I'm not in my truck. But holistic success is important, don't get me wrong. And too much of a good thing is still too much. But I want, when they come out of that role or that job, they're like, I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to go back. I remember when I was working in corporate, I used to say to my employees, I want you to say, oh, Andrea, it's Friday, and I don't want to go home because I love what I'm doing so much, which was that holistic success, mind you. And on a Sunday, I want them to say, yes, tomorrow is Monday. I can't wait to go to work. Too many people are looking forward to Fridays because they hate what they do. Most people that are working don't like what they do. We need to change that. So on the employer side, can you imagine an employer getting an employee who will say, I can't wait to go to work, where they feel that it's not work, it's their purpose for being. I remember when I left corporate and I started my businesses, someone asked me, who are you? What do you do? And I said, I'm Andrea and I get to live my purpose every day. Because what I do, it does not feel like work. So those employers are going to get somebody who is fully committed, fully trained, passionate about what they do, and can't wait to contribute positively to a meaningful career that the employer is going to allow them, give them they'll look at it as a privilege. I want them to say, I have the privilege of working here, and treat it that way, where they feel that it's almost their own. I used to do this to my teams at work. They feel that it's their company. When you get somebody who looks at it as their way of being and it's not a job, it's more than a job, it's amazing. Then all their fullness can be. They can be an engineer who is apparently creative. The ability to see possibilities, the ability to see end state, the ability to see and then encourage people to step out of their comfort zone, the ability to create tools. I think I have the perfect mix of using my right and left brain. So logical, the engineering, and creative, dreamer, and being able to see possibilities and potential in people and helping them to recognize what exists in them and help them to pull that out. Because success exists in us, but sometimes because of our environment or what we've been told, people like putting people in boxes. I was put in a box several times, and I think my USP is to help people, I'm going to use a Jamaican term right now, bust out of that box. I want to help you burst out, in Jamaican, bust out of the box that you've been put in, and know that don't let anybody make you play smaller than you are, because you're capable of greatness. You just need the right opportunity.